What's happening, y'all? About to go on the air right now. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Keep It 1 Million show. This is Sean P. Unfortunately, the Wayne is not feeling well today, so let's our prayers go up and he get better over the weekend so he can be with us next weekend. So, as you heard in the billboard, it was All Star Weekend. All Star Weekend. I mean, I will say it was a weekend. It was a weekend. It wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, honestly, one of the better things that happened was Mac McClung three-peated as slam dunk champion. I mean, in my opinion, you see, you got some people are saying that he's the best dunker of all times, and I don't agree with that. You have to break these things up into generations. You have to break them up into generations. You know, Dr. J, Julius Irving was the first to dunk from the foul line. Then Michael Jordan did it. Then a lot of other people did it. Scottie Pippen did it once. Vince Carter did it in an exhibition game. Sean Kemp, he was inside the foul line when he did it, but that's an iconic dunk because he did it, and it's like you saw slow motion. You see his leg kick back, and it was actually a really awesome dunk. Uh, um, who else did it from the foul line? Brent Barry. I believe Zach Levine did it from the foul line. There's been quite a bit of people that did it from the foul line, but like I said, it's generational. Dominique Wilkins, he didn't do it from the foul line. His was all like vertical. He did like 360 tomahawk power dunks. He was just power dunking, and it was just a different style. So I don't fault anybody that, because a lot of people are saying, well, Mac McClung can't go from the free throw line, but that's not his lane. Just like it wasn't Spud Webb's lane. It wasn't a lot of those guys' lanes. So, but a lot of people are asking, well, why won't this person do it? Why won't that person do the dunk contest? Well, honestly, think about it. They have more to lose than to win. If they go up against Mac McClung, it's high risk, low reward. If they beat him, like, oh, you just beat a G leaguer. But if they lose to him, like, oh man, you lost to a G leaguer. You know, I mean, John Moran, Zion. I mean, way back when, LeBron James. Giannis was talking trash about, like, saying, "Oh, I want to be in it," but we all know that LeBron said the same thing. He said, "Oh, I'm thinking about it." Like they believe they're gonna lose their brand. You know, the best time the best time for them to have done it was in the first 2 years of their careers. That's what the dunk contest was for. It was for rookies, really. That's when Vince Carter won it. In his rookie year. I remember when the dunk contest was prestigious. I remember that. I remember Jordan from the foul line. I remember Dominique's dunks and Spud Webb at 5'7". I remember Isaiah Ryder, the Bayside Funk, and then later Kobe Bryant replicated that in the dunk contest, and Ricky Davis actually did it in a game. um, and nobody can ever forget about Vince Carter, though. I mean, Vince Carter was he was Vinsanity. He was Vinsanity. But people often forget about Steve Francis in that dunk contest. Any other year, Steve Francis would have won. And Steve Francis really showed out as well. He just, I mean, Vince wasn't going to be beat. That's all. And I'm not willing to. I'm willing to say that I'm willing to say that Mac McClung is the greatest dunker of this generation. I know a lot of people say, well, he jumped over, yeah, he jumped over the car, but Blake Griffin already did that. Or that Kia wasn't that tall of a car. But, and they said that and he didn't do it just like bouncing the ball and then just jumping over the car. To that I have to say, I mean, look, okay, I get it, the guy was holding the ball, but he got the ball, he cleared it, and he reverse dunked it. He also did a 540. That's a 360 and a half. 360 plus 180. 540. Not this year, but he did it in I believe his first dunk contest. A 540. Nobody has ever did that. I mean that dunk got Dominique Wilkins out of his seat. I mean, you just was like, wow. I don't like to besmirch the OGs in the league and saying that they couldn't do something. But just like Mac McClung can't come from a foul line, or I'm not going to say he can't, he's never done it. Michael Jordan never did a 520. Dominique Wilkins never did a 520. I mean, I remember some dunk contests like D Brown. Y'all remember D Brown? D Brown, he pumped up his Reebok sneakers. They were the pumps. Excuse me. They pumped up his Reebok pumps. He dunked and then he let the air out the pumps. I remember those sneakers because they really did pump up. And I remember D Brown, he covered up his eyes with his arm and then he dunked. I mean, it was I remember that. I remember Kenny Skywalker. I remember Cedric Sabalas, Phoenix's own. I remember that. Cedric Sabalas blindfolded himself, dunking. I vividly remember going to school. I was in high school when D Brown did it. Going back to school talking about D Brown. Talking about Cedric Sabalas. Talking about... I think I was a freshman when last time Spud Webb won it. I believe he won 2 of them. I remember Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith, he was with the Sacramento Kings. He bounced it between his legs and it bounced off the backboard and he caught it and he dunked it. I remember that. People don't remember how good Kenny Smith actually was. They just remember him from TNT, which he's great on TNT. Those are memories that I'll never forget, and to see these last 3 dunk contests were fine, but to see it like when it's in its lulls, and when you're just like, yo, man, this is bad. At one point, the 3-point contest was more exciting. I don't know. You all remember that? It was like Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. It was Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, James Harden. All that. That was more star-studded, and it was more exciting. It was an awesome thing, and it was exciting last year to see Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu going at it, and I wanted to see that. I mean, Tyler Hero defeated Buddy Hield, and that was cool. That was good. I had no issues at all with that. But I, I still wanted more. I wanted to see like a tournament style. I wanted to see like I wanted to see a tournament style with the 3 point shootout. I wanted to see Steph Curry again, Sabrina Ionescu, Caitlin Clark. Find somebody to go against Steph Curry that wasn't in the contest, and then next year expanded to six, no more, no less, just six, just say three women, 3 men, and believe it or not, a woman will win that one day because it's shooting. I believe that the women should shoot with their ball, shoot with their ball, and it's shooting. It's not dunking, it's not anything like that. It's shooting. You mean to tell me Caitlin Clark can't outshoot a man? Nah, I dare I say she can. Especially when she started getting hot. It's like getting hot from that. Same thing with Sabrina. So I mean, it disappointed me. It disappointed me not being able to see that. I really was looking forward to that. I read some things that said that at the last minute the NBA yanked it, and Caitlin Clark had wanted the same thing in return. Like, so if they do All Star Weekend, then the NBA players come around and do their All Star Weekend, which I believe is fair. I mean that would drum up a lot of viewers to see that, and it would help the league. It would help the WNBA. I mean, those great 3 point shooters. You can't tell me those great 3 point shooters of the past wouldn't enjoy seeing that. I mean, you remember Craig Hodges and Dale Ellis, Larry Bird, uh, not Hubert Davis, but he was a good shooter. But Allen Houston, man. Oh, one dunker just came to mind. Harold Miner, he won a dunk. He won two. He won two dunk contests, I believe. You know, but All Star Weekend. All Star Weekend's in the bond. All Star Weekend's in the bond. Draymond Green had nothing good to say about it. Had nothing good to say about it at all. And I don't blame him. It just was. I mean, it was. He said it was. He said it was 0 out of from 0 to 10. It was 0. He said, "Why do they have to play the young up and coming players?" But I believe what they were trying to do, what they were trying to get the old guard, not necessarily the old guard, but get the veteran players to play hard because they didn't want to lose to the young kids. Which I get it. I like the format where the the people with the most votes, so the people with the most the two players with the most votes, they got to pick a team. I thought that was dope. You got to pick your own team, and then y'all go out and compete. And I just wonder what happened to the All Star game. When did it start getting so bad? The NBA All Star game. When did it start getting so bad? We'll be back to talk about that. Stay tuned. Yeah, we're going to talk about the All Star games themselves, about the competitiveness of them. Because I remember being a kid watching them. I don't know what happened. I don't know when it happened. I just remember they used to be competitive, and all of a sudden they weren't. Interesting. I wonder, share, and comment. I wonder what we could do to improve it. Yes, you all. How can we improve the All Star game? Because this past All Star game was pretty bad. Well, the games, it was like four of them. And the thing about it, they was doing all these commercial, like little breaks, and you saw Dame Lillard on the sideline during the 3-point contest, yawning and like yo, because when you're a shooter, you work with rhythm and you get hot. And they pretty much disrupted his rhythm. I'm not saying they caused him to lose. I'm not gonna make an excuse for him. But come on, y'all. This was ridiculous, and it just was trying to understand exactly what went wrong. I mean, when did it become so awful? I remember watching Allen Iverson and Stephon Marbury, Dikembe Mutombo, and others coming back against the West. I remember watching that, and it was so awesome because you saw guys out there trying to win. Yeah, in the beginning of the game, they were doing showman stuff and everything, but when it came down to it, they wanted to win. They was doing their thing. They was trying to. The West was trying to stop the East, and the East ended up winning. And Allen Iverson ended up winning MVP. And I remember even before that, when it was Magic Johnson's last All-Star game. And I remember he was not known for being a great shooter, but he hit 3 deep threes in that game, and I remember that. And I remember he was trying to play D on Magic Johnson, trying to play D on Isaiah Thomas. I mean, everybody was going out. I remember when Magic hit that last three. It was a deep one. He hit that last three. And I remember Isaiah Thomas grabbing the ball and saying, hey, this is how it should end. And Magic Johnson got the All-Star Game MVP. I remember when Kobe Bryant was playing the All-Star game, and he was going at MJ, and he brushed off Karl Malone's he brushed off his pick. He said, nah, he wanted to take Mike off the dribble. I remember Karl Malone had a lot of issues with that. Karl Malone had a lot of issues with the with the younger guard coming in anyway. He had a lot of issues with that. We're gonna talk about that in the third segment. But he just didn't like any of the young players who came into the league, and he would take shots at them, take shots at Iverson and stuff like that. And Carl, but Kobe brushed him on the down, try to take Mike off the dribble, and you saw how Kobe was going at MJ. You also years later you also saw when MJ he hit a turn around, it was like a baseline turn around jump shot. And you thought that was going to be he was with the Wizards at this time. You thought that was going to be the you thought that was going to be the game winner, and it wasn't, because they went down and Kobe got the ball and he was trying, because it was that Mamba mentality. No, I'm trying to win. I don't care about that. Yeah, that would have been the storybook end. That would because Michael Jordan would have got the All-Star MVP. Kobe was like, nah, man, we ain't doing that. And Jermaine O'Neal ended up fouling him, and Kobe hit both the foul shots. And they went on to win. The West went on to win the game, and I forget who won MVP. I don't believe it was Kobe Bryant. But that's how competitive that game once was. I remember watching Dr. J in the All-Star game. I remember that stuff. I just remember that those last quarters, they're just going at it. Other All-Star games have this same issue because they don't want to. The players don't want to go all out. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to mess up their brand. I get that, man. Money is money. Nobody wants to get. Nobody wants to get hurt that bad. But nobody wants to hurt anybody. I remember Shannon Sharp was talking about the Pro Bowl, and the reason why they took the Pro Bowl away because guys weren't playing hard. And the owners was like, "Nah, we're not wasting all this money," because there was a time in the Pro Bowl where you would go to Hawaii. It would be after the Super Bowl. They did it after the Super Bowl. Then they started doing it before the Super Bowl. So whoever was in the Super Bowl that was in the Pro Bowl wouldn't go to the Pro Bowl, and they were just in alternates. And because I remember the Pro Bowl was out here in Arizona, and I was in the Air Force at the time, and they had the Pro Bowl practice at Luke Air Force Base. It was pretty dope. I still got the ball, got the autographs on it and everything, and it was fun. It was fun. Got to meet and talk to John Gruden, and I know he's going through a lot of stuff right now, but at the time, he seemed like a pretty cool dude. Shannon Sharp was talking about he had a seam. He caught the ball on the seam, and the DB. I want to say he said it was Rondé Barber. That's who I want to say. He said it was, but I can't remember. But he said he didn't go. He said the DB didn't go all out on him. He just pushed him, kind of went in and pushed him, stuff like that. Nobody's really trying to hurt. I mean, unless you Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor laid out that punter. And the announcer said somebody forgot to tell us Sean Taylor it's just an exhibition. But Sean Taylor was that guy. I got arrested dead. But NHL, the NHL, the way they do it now, they do the world. They do the world. So and I believe right now it's U.S. and Canada again. They playing again, something like that. But they said it was real competitive. It was like physical hits and stuff like that. Like they take a pride, and a lot of people believe that's what the NBA should do, and bring it and have the U.S. team, have a Canadian team, and then have like a European team, world team, a world team, and somehow do something like that where Now that's when you get up because you know you wearing that USA on your jersey. You ain't trying to lose. You know you wear that. It wouldn't necessarily be like international players and then Canada or whatever. However they want to do it. I mean that would be different. That would be really good and amazing because we have a lot of international stars in the game right now. I mean, some might say shoot, some of the best players are from other countries. You know, you got Giannis, Embiid, and even though Embiid's hurt right now, but got Embiid, got some people I didn't even realize was international. You got SGA, sorry, Shea Gildress, Alexander. You got Andrew Wiggins, and you have Karl Anthony Towns. He's Dominican. I didn't realize that he's Dominican. It's a truly international game. It's a true international game, and it, it's a true international game, and it's not going anywhere. And the exhibition game needs to get better. I mean, even with baseball's a little bit different because you're just hitting back the ball. But I like watching a home run derby. I mean, it's always interesting. You know, people say, "Oh, they're just hitting the ball," but it's exciting. See who's going to launch that thing out of there. You know, I mean, I remember watching the home run derby with Barry Bonds and people like that. Exciting. I remember one All-Star game in Major League Baseball where Barry Bonds got a good part of that ball, launched it, and Torrey Hunter ran it down and caught it right at the wall, right the warning tracks. Pow, caught it, stole the home run, and he came running in because it was the third out. He came running in, and Barry Bonds like gave him a big hug. Was like, oh, you know, like I can't believe you caught that, you know. So, and Torrey Hunter was one of, at that time at his prime was he was one of the best to do it at that center field position. And just to see how this All-Star game in the NBA is where it's going and how it's going is sad. It's sad and you know the effort's just not there. You know, the effort's just not there, and you can't make somebody who has generational wealth care. You can't. I don't know how you can make them care. You say, oh, we can offer you money. Nah. I mean, they like, you know, you gotta try something else. You know. I know Stephen A. Smith came up with an idea where, you know, they just sponsor some internet dunkers, Instagram dunkers, street dunkers, and have a tournament to find find the 10 best, and then 10 NBA stars will sponsor the 10 best, and the person who wins the dunk contest gets $1,000,000. Second place gets 500,000, and third place he said 100,000 for third place. I say 250,000 for third place. You know, and you mean to tell me some of those guys wouldn't get up? I mean, and then the people that sponsoring them be like hyped up, man. That would be dope. That would be amazing. I mean, I don't know what else they could really do. I mean, you know, some players you could just say, can you take it a little bit more seriously? I mean, you have LeBron James pulling out of the game at the last minute, and Adam Silver wasn't capable of finding a replacement for him. I mean, he still would have kept his all-star status, but, you know, somebody else could have gotten to the game, and kind of like what Giannis did, and Trae Young was able to come in, you know. The one guy, forget his first name, I think the last name was Nixon from the Clippers, could have took that spot, or maybe even Tyrese Maxey. More than likely it would have been the guy Nixon though. um, and, and effectively LeBron took a spot from somebody, and people keep saying, "Oh, I mean," because I'm not going. He said he has some soreness and thing. I'm not going down his injury. I'm not going to do that. But he had to know that he probably wasn't going to play. And then when he took the picture with the All Stars, he didn't have his uniform on. He just was in street clothes, and I'm just like, come on, man. I'm a LeBron fan, but sometimes I just believe that move was a selfish move, and I get that some people are going to say, boo. I'm sorry that the guy didn't make the All Star team, but it's not about him not making a player not making the All Star team. It's about just knowing that you're probably not gonna play and just be like, you know what, let this person go. I mean, the older that players get, I mean, Shannon said it when he got older. He's like, man, nah, I'm good. Let this person go. Shannon had a Hall of Fame career. He still was considered a Pro Bowler, and let this person take the alternate spot. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but to some people, the egos get involved. The so-called alphaness, the alpha males get involved. It's just all a joke, and you know, these players are gonna have to figure this out because the owners are not gonna put up with it much longer. They're not gonna put up with it much longer. They're gonna sit here and like, you know what, they're gonna start enacting their power, and and players aren't gonna like it. Like in the NFL, it's happening there. I mean, Shannon. I was watching Nightcap, and Shannon was like, he's like, you got to do this like chess. Think 5 moves ahead, and that's what these NBA players have to start doing because the owners aren't going to put up with this any longer. They're not going to put up with this any longer. And I'm curious to see what the owners will do. Real curious to see what the owners will do. Truly curious because I know the players don't want to like it. The Player Association probably not going to like it, and we shall see. We shall see. Well, next up we're gonna talk about Super Bowls. Super Bowls. Dwayne and I had an interesting conversation about people winning multiple Super Bowls and what it takes to win multiple Super Bowls. Since my Eagles won the Super Bowl this past year, they have 2 Super Bowl rings. We're going to talk about the teams that have won multiple Super Bowls. There are a great many teams that, well, not great many that won one, but there are some that have won multiples, and there are some that only won one. And it's hard to win a Super Bowl. So we will get back. We will definitely get back to that. Okay, back on the Keep It 1 Million show. We're going to start with talking about multiple Super Bowl winners. All right. Okay, the teams that have won one Super Bowl. We're gonna start with that. All right, they have here right here the Seattle Seahawks. Y'all remember that? So the Seattle Seahawks, I remember those teams. Had the Legion of Boom, had Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch, had a young Russell Wilson. Now, I remember they beat the Denver Broncos in that Super Bowl that they won, and it was a beatdown. It was 40-8. It was not a good moment for Peyton Manning. I remember the first score of the game was was a safety. It was so loud that the ball just went over Peyton Manning's head, and it was just downhill from there. And it just like, man, that was, oh man, the Legion of Boom, man. It was Richard Sherman. It was Earl Chancellor. I forget the guy's first name, but his last name was Maxwell. I remember that because the Eagles signed him to a big contract, and he didn't live up to that big contract. He was a member of the Legion of Boom, but they just he wasn't. You saw what he was without the other three. You know, he didn't live up to that huge contract. Earl Thomas. Yeah, Earl Thomas. So it was Maxwell, it was Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor were the safeties, and Maxwell and Richard Sherman were the corners. I believe that's how it was. Somebody can comment in the comment section and correct me if I'm wrong. The Chicago Bears have won. 1985 Bears. I remember that team. 15-1. The one team they lost to was the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins, Dan Marino. They beat the Bears that year. Those Bears had the Buddy Ryan defense. The 4-3, that 4-3 defense, his front four was, he was like the grandfather of that. Having a strong front four to the point where you didn't necessarily have to blitz, but when he did blitz, it was something to behold. And they had Jim McMahon. They had on offense they had Willie Gault, speedster. They had Walter Payton. They had on the D line. They had William the Refrigerator Perry. I believe he was a rookie that season. I do not believe he was a second, third year player. I believe he was a rookie. And just I remember the Super Bowl Shuffle, the song Super Bowl Shuffle. That team, and they tried to run it back. It goes to show you how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. They tried to run it back, but they never could regain that magic. It's real tough. The New Orleans Saints. That's the Drew Brees led New Orleans Saints. Yes, I remember them. Yeah, they only won that one, but all through those years afterwards, Drew Brees still was that guy. Drew Brees was that guy, and there was no denying that. They beat the Indianapolis Colts. Peyton Manning, that team. Remember Peyton Manning threw that pick six. He was driving down the field trying to score that touchdown, and he threw that pick six. Horrible time. Oh my goodness. He just sometimes in big games, man. Peyton just mistakes like that, and it probably was 50-50 or 50% on him, 50% on the wide receiver. Because I want to say he believed that Reggie Wayne was going to cut in, and he ended up throwing that, and he got picked, and that was it. And he's just like, man. I mean, he does have two. He lost 2 Super Bowls. He lost to the Saints, and he lost to Seattle, but he won 2. He won Denver when Denver beat Carolina, and when the Colts beat the Bears. Rex Grossman led Bears. That was the time when I want to say yeah. What was his name? Ran the opening kick back for a touchdown. Sad, I can't remember the guy's name because I remember when he got into Devin Hester because he got into the Hall of Fame not this year but last year. He got inducted last year, and rightfully so. Right, he deserved it. Yeah. You have a lot of people saying, "Well, what about Dante Hall?" I don't know about Dante Hall getting it, but yeah, yeah, that guy deserved to get in. Devin Hester. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I remember their first Super Bowl when they played the Raiders. They blew the Raiders out. That was horrible. That was bad. I actually was rooting for the Raiders. Um, and it's a lot of talk about that Super Bowl. Jerry Rice and Tim Brown talked a lot about that. They said that they needed to change up some stuff. They told the coach, "Hey, we need to change up some stuff because they were still running the same stuff that they did when Gruden was there." Because Gruden went from the Raiders to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay had to give some draft picks because of that. But and they didn't change anything up, and Gruden knew exactly where everything was going, and it just was a shellacking. You had some Hall of Famers on that team too. You had Warren Sapp. You had Rondé Barber, who I was like, did he deserve to get an Hall of Fame? But I was like, okay. I had to look at the stats and everything. I was like, okay. Yeah, and you had Rondé Barber, Warren Sapp. Oh, I want to say John Lynch. Yeah, John Lynch was on that team. I remember they had. I want to say they had Warwick Dunn and John Allstott. Man, they called them Thunder and Lightning. And that defense, man, they had a squad. I'm surprised they didn't win more, but they had a squad. But here's the thing: I tell people all the time. Who was the quarterback? I want to say quarterback on the team was Brad Johnson on that team. That was a Tony Dungy team. Tony Dungy built that team. So John Gruden walked into a winning culture on the team and everything. I was really happy to see Dungy get it with Indianapolis. Miami Dolphins. They Miami Dolphins only got two. I thought they had more than that. Both with Don Shula. None of them Dan Marino. One of them was the undefeated team. The what was it? I want to say it was 14-0. Was it 14-0 or 16? I think it was 14-0. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, I skipped over somebody who won championship. New York Jets. I forgot about them. The New York Jets. That's Willie Joe named when he said, "I guarantee that they were gonna beat the Colts." Man. That, yeah. Yeah. Back in, I want to say it was 90. The Mets won in 1969. I want to say I can't remember exactly the year for that Jets team, but yeah. The Baltimore Ravens, yep. When they gave a classic beat down to the Giants in 2000, and then they beat the San Francisco 49ers. That was Ray Lewis's last game. And Ed Reed finally got his ring. Joe Flacco got a ring. And Los Angeles, St. Louis Rams. I was about to say I was like, oh yeah, Los Angeles. They won back. They won with Matt Stafford. And the Rams, the greatest show on turf. That one. They ended up losing to the Patriots in the Super Bowl because that's the Patriots' first Super Bowl win. Started that dynasty, and it just showed you when you looked at it like how good Belichick was going to be, because he was just good at the time. Now, of course, he ended up being great, and he showed you what he would do. He would take away what you did best, which for them was Marshall Faulk. Now beat us with something else. It still was a close game. It won by field goal. Vinatieri, who's eventually going to get into the Hall of Fame, and won by field goal. And yeah, uh, but that that was that was a really good offensive team. I mean, man, the greatest show on turf. And Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Kurt Warner, Marshall Falk. Oh my goodness, squad. He had a really good squad. You all. Indianapolis Colts, Baltimore, Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, people forget that Baltimore. They were the Baltimore Colts, and they won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl, and the Indianapolis Colts won with Peyton Manning. The Baltimore Colts team, Johnny Unitas. And him and a lot of people remember this guy from Police Academy movies, Bubba Smith, was on that team. And that's all I remember about that Baltimore Colts team. But the Indianapolis Colts, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison. I want to say Joseph Adai. I know Edgerrin James was not. They let him go. But Jim Irsay gave him a ring anyway. He gave him a ring because Edgerrin James was a huge part of that team. He's a Hall of Famer as well. Let's see. The Raiders. Oh, sorry. Skipped over my Eagles. Eagles have two. When we beat New England back in 2017, right? Yeah, 2017 we beat New England, and then we just recently beat Kansas City. And yeah, being an Eagles fan was always tough because people will always want to remind you that you never won a Super Bowl. It was a time when the only team in the NFC East did not win a Super Bowl was the Eagles. And when we finally got that one, we got it. And I remember being happy about it. I remember it was a Steeler fan. He said, "Hey man, you come talk to us when you get one more. Y'all just got one." Now we got two. That same Steeler fan was like, "Hey, you gotta come talk to us when you get two more." It's like, keep moving the goalposts. But fair enough, because right when you don't have as much hardware as them, then it is what it is, But there's no rest for the wicked. They still gotta get on the grind. And if not, I believe that they're set up to win the Super Bowl again. I believe they can win one more in 3 years. See what's up? What is next? Okay, so you got the Raiders, the Commanders, and the Broncos with 3. The Raiders they got theirs. Once they got all 3 of theirs with John Madden. God rest the dead with that. I mean, those Raider teams, man, you had Jack Tatum. Oh my God, that guy was out there literally crippling people. Man. And the Commanders, I remember the one with Doug Williams. Doug Williams, quarterback, Timmy Smith, the running back. Then they had Art Monk at wide receiver. Who else? Art Monk, Gary Clark at wide receiver. They had a really really good team. Once they had Dexter Mantley and stuff like that. They won. I remember they won that one because that was when they played the Broncos. I want to say they beat the Raiders years before that with when they had John Riggins. And or did the Raiders? No. Actually, I want to say the Raiders beat them. The Raiders beat them, but But that's when Marcus Allen. I think Marcus Allen went crazy because the Eagles went to the Super Bowl against the Raiders as well, and the Raiders beat the Eagles. It was just like early '80s, you know, Ron Jaworski time and stuff like that. I think Dick LeMille was the coach. The Broncos. The Broncos have. The Broncos have three. Uh, the Broncos have three. They have two with John Elway, one with Peyton Manning. One with Peyton, one with Peyton, uh, one with Peyton Manning, and they also. I remember. I remember the ones they lost. I remember the ones they won. I remember they beat. They beat. Who they beat? They beat Green Bay. They beat Green Bay, and then the second one they beat Atlanta, and that was John Elway went out on top, and then Peyton Manning. They beat the Carolina Panthers with Cam Newton, and Peyton Manning went out on top because he was pretty much done. And then we got the ones before Kansas City, Green Bay, and Kansas City, Green Bay, and the New York Giants. At 4, the ones with 5 are the Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, and the ones with 6 are New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And no, the New England Patriots do not have 7. Tom Brady has 7. People make that mistake. I don't remember the Steelers' early Super Bowls. I remember the 2 that they won. One with Bill Cowher, where he beat the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks had Shaun Alexander and all that. And I remember when Tomlin won with Santonio Holmes and all of them. And so that was I remember that. And the 49ers are they're 5. I remember. I know Joe Montana has 4. He doesn't have 5 rings. He has 4. When did they? I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have 5. They had 2 in the '70s and 3 with the Jerry Jones years. New York Giants 4. Yeah, that's Bill Parcells. No, I'm sorry. Bill Parcells has 2. And Tom Coughlin has 2 because Eli Manning has 2. Yeah, and he'll get in the Hall of Fame as well. Yeah. So that will be all for the Keep It 1 Million show. We will see y'all next week. Tune into KRDP 90.7 FM on Facebook at KRDP.radio, Twitter at KRDP_radio, and Instagram at KRDP_radio. Like, share, and subscribe.